Hello and welcome to the incredibly influential and highly successful podcast. My name is Kael. I am incredibly influential.
And I am Maxwell, and I am highly successful.
Today is Wednesday, the 6th of December. I hate the word 6th. You know?
Sixth.
Well,
Sixth.
yeah. It's hard to get the X and then transition into the T, right? It's like desks where you have to and it's terrible. It's annoying. Um,
Well,
yeah.
I
To
mean,
open,
yeah.
I want to read a conversation we had in right before we started recording. Would you care to read your parts and I'll read my parts?
You want to read this
Yes, it's
private
hilarious.
conversation between you and me
It's
on the
hilarious.
podcast?
Yes.
Well, I'll let
Um,
you do it since this is your idea.
So today at 12:50, set in space G space up now, and then I sent him the link to the recording session, and he said, "Okay, just got to hit up the bathroom first." I said in all caps, "Based, I might too." That was also in all caps.
That's right.
Next thing he says, "Epic, 3 C's." I come back and I say, "Piss was successful." There we go. So if you ever wanted to know what our DMs are like, that's what it's like on Discord. And then on Instagram Reels, it's me sending you Instagram Reels like 99% of the time, and then on Tuesdays I send him the link to the show and tell him to put it on his story. And I don't even know if he does it half the time.
It's a mystery.
I'm 80% sure he doesn't. Cause I would see. I would know. I'm very observant. Um I'm very observant.
Yes.
Says the person who didn't know for about a year that his friend had transitioned. Literally changed their username in my Twitch chat and everything. And I just had no idea that they transitioned. So that's, go me. I'm really smart, as it turns out.
Hey, we all find out in our own time. So,
I, yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. I guess. But um, I have ligma.
yeah, you do.
Yeah, it's very
Like
sad.
my balls.
Terminal case. It's awful. Yeah, but um, speaking of ligma, I have been. I don't know if you've been paying attention. Have you been watching my streams lately on Tuesdays and Saturdays?
You've been playing Tomb Raider?
No. That was done a while ago. Actually, I think that was done last month.
Oh.
Um,
How fast was that to beat?
two streams. Two streams.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Is it a
Two.
short game?
About 8 to 10 hours.
Okay.
8 hours, I would say. Or
I
yeah,
mean,
more like 6 to 8.
that is kind of
Um,
short.
it was like 2 4-hour sessions, I think, and I just bam bam, just knocked it out real quick. It is a short game. It's not the longest story mode game, but it was done really quick because I really like that game, or at least I remember really liking that game. I think it wasn't as good as I remember it being, but it was pretty good. Um, yeah, let me just do some quick math real quick, and then I'll tell you exactly how long it was. Do 11, 12, 13. So 13 divided by 2. Yeah, it's about 8 hours. But it was good. I was talking about something else though. Um, Super Mega Baseball 3. Have you been watching that?
Super Mega Baseball 3. I can't say that I have.
Okay, so this is now a plug. This is now me self-advertising. So there you go. Merry Christmas. Every Tuesday and Saturday, I at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Central, I play Super Mega Baseball 3 with just the best team ever. It's called the Dragons, and every single player is some kind of Ligma joke, right? So we have Larry Ligma, Sophia Sugma, Pat Mahoney. One of our starting pitchers is Watts Updog. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. It's actually just the best thing ever. I'm so proud of myself for that. I don't know why, but I'm so proud of myself for that.
I mean, it's a cool sounding name for a
What?
game.
Oh, the actual game itself, Super Mega
Right.
Baseball.
I mean, your names are cool too, man. You know,
Yeah.
go off.
I really like Super Mega Baseball. I think of the baseball games, I think
Super
I
Mega
think
Baseball's up there.
yeah, what I really like about it is there's not really like it's not like a realistic art style. It's more cartoony and caricaturish, you know. All the men are like big chins and all that shit, and all the women are like, you know, super like tiny, skinny, you know, cartoonish, big eyes, that sort of thing, right? But it still plays realistically, right? There's not really any like super special abilities. It's just sort of like the closest you get is like for example, our catcher is an RBI man. So whenever someone's on like second or third base, he gets like a buff to his like hitting stats, right? Like he can hit better.
Right.
Because yeah, so that's like as close as it gets to like an actual like special ability type thing. So it's sort of like backyard baseball, which had like all the power ups and all that sort of silly stuff, right? And it had the cartoonish art style versus MLB The Show, which has no power ups, no anything, just plain realistic, and it's like a good middle ground between the two. I think it's great. I've actually been having a great time doing it. I actually thought it wasn't going to pop off like it did, like views wise, but it actually last night as we're recording this, it was really big stream. We got like 60 something. As of right now, the VOD, including all the views that we had during the stream, has like 60, 70 views, which is
Nice.
just phenomenal. We played 3 games last night. Normally I only play like 1 or 2, but like just everyone was popping off. So we're up to game 6 now. Or we played game 6. We're up to game 7 as of now. So we'll be playing game 7 on Saturday, and then as this goes up, we'll probably be doing game 9 or game 10. But yeah, all of our games are in our Twitch highlights, and then on Tuesdays and Saturdays at like normally when I would put out a video on my YouTube channel, I put up one of those games over on YouTube. So it helps me like stretch out me being able to put a YouTube video out every day, because let me tell you, putting out a YouTube video every day, it's a lot of work. It's crazy. Even when you don't have to like edit any of them, if they're just like, you know, they're just like Twitch highlights, still you gotta put in a lot of time to like go in there and like get it ready and put it out there, you know, because I do all my own thumbnails, even though it's not really like all that much effort, but it's like, yeah. So if you're gonna be a YouTuber,
being a content creator and making your own original stuff takes work.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, I put out a couple of YouTube shorts today. I've decided we're gonna do that. We're gonna put out some YouTube shorts of whatever episode there was this week, and we'll put those out over on YouTube. I reckon that'll probably drive some traffic over there. Hopefully, you know, it's anyone's guess. You know, I'm not a YouTube algorithm mathematician. Otherwise, I'd have 1 million subscribers by now. But
Mhm.
It works, you know, like it should work. I'm I just want to say, you know, first of all, by the way, this is your 40th episode, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah. How does that feel?
I feel old, but when do I not?
Right? Yeah, you're like 23. You're fucking ancient.
I am not 23, not yet.
You're close enough. You're closer to 23 than you are 21. How's
Yes,
that feel?
but that doesn't mean you have to say I'm 23.
I mean, you know, you're closer to 30 than you are to 10. So basically, you're a 50-year-old man. There you go. Basically, you belong in a fucking nursing home.
I
Let's be
don't
real
agree
here.
with this. No,
Uh,
I'm not.
uh,
I'm not that old.
oh,
I
the
still got some
senile
fight
old
in me.
man wants to wants to argue. Okay, time to take your meds, Grandpa. Jeez. But yeah, so this is your 40th episode.
Wow.
Um in 5 more episodes you will have done wait, hang on. I need to I need to I need to check this. I need to check my math here.
Check your backlog.
Yeah, in 5 more weeks you will have done as many episodes as Danny did. So
Wow.
how's that? Right? That's crazy. That's crazy to me.
I think it's cool getting to know Danny, who, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, on atop the table, you guys well, you guys first met when we did that script reading. By the way, we need to go back to doing those. Those were fun.
right?
You were there for Megamind, right?
I think I was.
Yeah.
Sounds like something I was there for.
Yeah, I remembered that. That one was fun. Megamind was fun, and I really liked our Star Wars one, even though that one took like 3 hours to get through. It's
Yeah,
like
it was really funny. It's longer than the movie.
by a country mile. By a country mile, it was longer than the movie, but it was awesome. That was great. I really enjoyed doing that one.
I really liked reading it with people who like never watched Star Wars before.
Yeah, and
That was
your
just such
Han Solo impression was fucking phenomenal, might I
Oh,
say.
thank you.
That was yeah. You were born to play Han Solo. I remembered how excited you were to play Han Solo. You were like, "Oh, can I do Han Solo, please?" I'm like, "All right, sure. Let's, you know what? Go for it." And you brought that, and I was like, "Holy shit, this is
Yeah,
amazing."
that was super fun. I did like
Yeah,
that a lot.
I got to be Princess Leia.
You did.
That was my favorite.
You got to do your thing.
Yes.
Sass talk a bunch of people.
Can somebody get this big walking carpet out of my way? Princess Leia had some great lines. God, I miss Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
As a recurring topic on this fucking show, death is cringe. Death is hella cringe.
Yeah.
Everyone should just be immortal. Speaking of which, did you hear the FDA just did like a really big step in approving this drug that's going to increase the lifespan of large dogs?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So hopefully that comes out within Buster's lifetime, because I'm gonna give that to him, because as of
How old
so
is
here's some
Buster?
bummer news.
Okay.
We had a dog from about when I was like 7 or 8 to about last week. We finally had to put her down because she was like riddled with cancer and like just like a lot of just old just yeah.
Wow,
Everything was going wrong with her, and it was
that's
really
crazy.
sad.
That dog's been around for so long.
13 years old she was, and we finally put her down, but I got to see her over Thanksgiving. I gave her a long goodbye because I knew she wasn't going to make it to Christmas.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm glad I got to say goodbye to her, because
That's sweet.
yeah, I miss her. And so FDA, if you're listening to this, you better make sure that fucking drug makes it to the market, okay?
Yeah,
I'm no
do it
longer
for her.
asking. I'm no longer asking. Okay, well, it wouldn't have even worked on her because she was only like a
She wasn't
35
big
pound
enough.
dog. No. It's for like large dogs, because large dogs don't live as long as small dogs. Like large dogs only make it to about like maybe 10, but
Yeah.
like Chihuahuas can live to be 20. You know, like you can get a Chihuahua when you get like when you bring your baby home, and the Chihuahua will be alive when you send that kid off to college. Right? Chihuahuas live forever, and also they're evil. I think they only live so long because they're powered by spite, right? They're just the most hateful ass dogs in the world. Fucking dachshunds are too, right? When I was like a little kid, I was like 2 or 3 years old. My mom would leave me with a babysitter who had just this like mean ass dachshund, right? And you could tell like that cocksucker had like he'd seen some shit, and he was just a villain, just an absolute menace. And he would like, yeah, just an absolutely evil dog. He's like, you cocksucker, you think you can come into my home and take over my life? No. And he would just be just evil. That fucking son of a bitch. So I don't like dachshunds anymore because of that.
Not after that. No.
Yeah. So for the last 18 years of my life, I've not liked dachshunds.
How often have you had to deal with one?
Thankfully, not very often. Thankfully, not very often. But yeah, not a fan. Not a fan anymore. I must say. I don't know if it was just that one that was an asshole, or if they all are, but he's a mean motherfucker, and I don't like him.
Hmm.
But you know what? Fuck it, we ball. Fuck it, we ball. How about that? Um,
Oh.
but I'm really glad that hopefully we'll be getting that drug to make large dogs live longer, because that's like the only problem with getting a large dog, other than the slobber and the poop and the food and the hair and okay, maybe there's a lot of problems with getting a large dog, but still, I would say large dogs are better than small dogs on the whole, and that's like the main drawback. So I'm really glad that this drug is going to go to market relatively soon, because death fucking sucks, and losing a dog is fucking awful.
Yeah.
You know?
And small dogs, they got it easy.
They do got it easy. Other than the fact that if you live in the South, right, gators will just walk right up to your fucking small dog and just walk right away.
Oh no.
Yeah, 100%.
The
So
fucking gators.
Gators don't really like to go after like human adults, but
They love
children,
small dogs.
children and small dogs are in the most danger of alligators. So the more you know. If you're in the South, yeah, just watch your children and your small dogs around alligators. Because it's usually illegal to kill them, right? Like, I think we talked about this before, but it's like illegal to kill alligators most of the time. Like, you can't hunt them or anything, and you have to prove like self-defense. And I think that's bullshit. Like, we're farming them. We are farming them for meat and leather, right? Like, I should be able to kill a wild one. Like, come on, let's be real here.
Yeah,
But
it's so, I don't know, it don't make sense. This country respects alligators more than it respects people, like
it
human
does.
beings.
It does. I should be able. If an alligator looks at me funny, I should be able to drop a 7-pound bomb in its fucking nest and blow up all of its babies, and then shoot it with a 50 caliber machine gun. You know, like if it looks at me funny, that gator needs to be wiped off the map, right? Exactly. I'm glad you agree.
Yes, wipe them out. All of them.
Exactly. I was hoping you'd say that. But don't the ones you really have to worry about are American crocodiles, not American alligators.
What the fuck are the crocodiles?
They are so everywhere from like South Florida. They're in Cuba, Puerto Rico, both sides of Hispaniola. They're not much on the Gulf side of Mexico, like on the northeast Mexico from like Texas down. they're not really there. But once you get to like Yucatan, they're all over it. Basically every country south of Mexico in Central America, they're all over that. And on the west side of Mexico, mysteriously enough, like on the Baja side, they're all the way up there. But they are far more aggressive than American alligators. So I would watch out for them. But yeah, they're assholes. They're less aggressive than other crocodiles, but they're still just absolute dicks. And if you do see one, if you can't tell the difference, crocodiles are more pointy and alligators are more rounded. And also the one that's biting your leg off right now is probably a crocodile.
Yeah, but don't get too close if you're just trying to check.
Yeah, there's something about the teeth too, but you'd have to be really close to be able to notice that. Just go by the shape of their snouts. And then if you're in the South, just literally carry a
Just try not to die.
Yeah, exactly. Just carry like multiple handguns on you, and just as soon as you see one, just like whip it out and just blam, 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 and then come up with a cover story about how it tried to attack you, and hope they don't bring the fucking CSI to like analyze the gunshot angles and like the shell casings and all that sort of shit. So hopefully they won't bring the CSI on you, but you know.
What if they were crocodiles too?
What if the CSI were crocodiles? I mean,
Yeah, it's a whole
crocodile
conspiracy.
scene investigators.
It's like they've been the reason there's so many protections for them is because they're all crocodiles.
Oh, all right. So it's like, instead of a lizard people government, we have a crocodile people government.
Exactly.
You know what? I'm liking this. I'm picking up what you're putting down. I'm smelling what you're stepping in. I think if you don't hear from us after this episode goes live, I think you know what happened.
You know what happened.
I think you know to follow the clues, and we've laid out the trail for you, and you can you can figure it out yourself. Okay, there you go. The crocodile people government tried to silence us, but you guys are smart enough. You know the deal. I believe in you. I think you can finally sort this out. We were the ones who we laid out this jigsaw puzzle. We did the edges, and now you guys just have to fill in the center. Okay, there you go. We did the easy part. Now it's up to you.
Yeah, you just gotta fill in our center.
I think it would be really funny. I think ew. See, this when people meet Maxwell, I don't think they like understand that he just says the fucking grossest innuendos, right?
What the fuck?
That would be me.
Well, it is you. It's rubbing off.
Ew! Maxwell, I'm not rubbing off on you. I'm not rubbing off on you, okay? There's no rubbing off on anyone on this podcast. There's no hostile work environment other than the one where I call Maxwell a dickhead every 5 minutes. That's
just
happen.
That's part of the job.
Yeah, that's not a sexual harassment hostile work environment. That's just a normal hostile work environment. We don't got to worry about that. No, nobody. Yeah. Oh my god. So
that's a personal matter.
Exactly. Oh, wait. So so a group of us, if you're familiar, we just dropped our first episode of Atop the Table on Monday. Very excited about that. Not this Monday that this is coming out, but as we recorded this. Very excited about that. Very happy to finally have that out in the world because we've been working on that for a while. But after Atop the Table, a couple of us guys do this thing on my channel called the Hive Mind, or like the Hive Mind Plays, and speaking of hostile work environment, I often say that in the Hive Mind Discord server, I'm the least autistic person in there. The number one least autistic person in that Discord server is me.
Is that true?
Yes, I do often say that. Yes.
Well, I know you often say it. I'm asking if the
But is it
statement is
true?
true.
As a psych major, I feel I am qualified to say yes, without a shadow of a doubt, least autistic person in there.
What,
Yeah.
psych majors can't be a little bit autistic?
No, I'm just saying, based on the symptoms, I am the least autistic. Because with you and Danny, the issue you both have is executive functioning. Y'all motherfuckers are
Check it out.
huge
Check it out.
procrastinators.
It's on my diagnosis.
It is. It is.
I earned that
He
by
did.
being incredibly low functioning.
He chicken dinnered that shit. He didn't. It was not given to him on a silver platter. He fucking earned that shit, bro.
Mhm.
But
Who's got extra time on tests? I do.
hell yeah, I don't have to do that. I don't have to do that at all. I get done in 10 minutes. I had a what was it? Like a 50 question test in management. The last one I took was like 50 question test. Got it done in 10 minutes, and I think I scored an 88 on it.
Nice.
And I got it. And because all the questions were student made, she threw out a couple of them, so I got it like curved up to like a 91. So I'm on fire. I'm on a roll. Call me butter because I'm on a roll. But yeah, you and Danny both have shit time management.
Well, we're your people.
You are. You know, I am your
I really
guide.
connect with Danny in that way.
Yeah.
You know,
And
whenever we get around to it.
yeah. You'll figure it out. You have to clear your schedule for the next month in order to get it done. But you know, you'll figure it out at some point. But yeah, you and Danny have crap time management, and then I will say that my autism is that I'm too good at time management to where I'm.
Well, that can just as easily be another symptom of autism.
No, but but it makes me good. It makes me too powerful, right? Well, I'm too early. I will be early to my own fucking funeral, right? I'll be in the casket like a month before I die, right? I'll just be like, you know what? I don't want to be late. I'm just gonna chill out in here for a while, you guys.
Yeah, I'd be the opposite. They'll like forget to put me in the casket.
Yeah, it'll be a closed casket funeral. I'll be like, damn, he must have got fucked up. And
then there'll be like a hearse that comes in halfway through my funeral, and they'll be like, we forgot the body.
Yeah, in the service. And they just like yeet you in there, your fucking arm falls off. Yeah. And it's just like, damn.
I want that funeral music though, you know? That one that they had for that one guy in Africa.
Oh yeah, with the dancing pallbearers? Fuck
right.
Yeah. Do I get to be one of the pallbearers?
I already don't have a death as glorious as that guy because I don't have that song.
What would all right. How about instead of Paul bearers, you had Paul brothers, and Jake and Logan Paul carried your casket around?
I would say like burn my body and don't invite anyone to my funeral.
So you wouldn't want that? I would want that.
No, I don't want any of them. I really want nothing to do with those people.
Okay, so I should get them for a funeral. Okay, got it.
No, please don't.
I feel like this is one of those like, oh no, don't get me a gift. It's fine, but you actually want a gift. I feel like this is like that. Okay.
Yeah. And it's like, please, but you really shouldn't. I would actually appreciate it more if you didn't.
You're not a burden, Maxwell. It's okay.
You know who are? The Paul brothers. So we should not give them any more attention.
Yeah. I might agree with that actually. A little bit.
Based.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. And Yeah, they are kind of assholes. Which one do you think is worse, by the way? Before we go to the ad
Logan.
break, Logan.
Logan. Yeah. Well, I don't know how much worse you can get than like going to a suicide forest, filming uh someone's body and then putting it on the internet for like platforming yourself. Like, really? You can't just leave someone alone who like just just like went through a horrible life experience. It's just really sad and uh not respectful. So, I don't know. I don't know what Jake did. He's just like annoying. But I'm sure he's got his own thing that you can get upset at him about for.
He made It's Everyday Bro, which I would argue is probably on the level of the Suicide Forest thing.
I don't think it's close. But
Okay, but what about his whole music career? Because that's not his only song.
I know.
That's just the song that he got attention for. You know?
I mean,
England is my city. Yeah. Yeah. Come on. It's pretty close.
he really, I feel like because he did that, he started this whole trend of like these this trope of like music videos with like uh scantily clad
YouTubers?
women and you know
I
cars.
don't think there's any scantily clad women in that video.
Is it just children?
In It's Everyday Bro?
Yeah, he has
No,
like
the only woman who's in that video, if I recall correctly, is like one of the token chick member of Team 10, right? And
yeah,
she
you're
like
right.
actually gets a verse. Yeah, there's no like
But you have
pose or
you have a
anything.
good memory of this.
I am cursed with knowledge. I remember everything. Every cringe thing that has ever happened on the internet, I remember it.
Well,
Okay?
he's still doing the thing that's like stand in front of your car and speak to the camera.
Oh yeah, 100%. But
I don't I don't I don't know. Is this what creative filmmaking is for a
yes,
music video?
he's actually a genius. He's actually the next Spike Jonze
I mean,
of
it has 298 million views.
how many dislikes versus how many likes? That's the real question.
Well, you can't really check that.
Yeah, you can. Do you not have that Chrome extension?
No, I would have to get a Chrome extension to
Yeah,
see.
I have that Chrome extension on everything.
Just like, why is there so many extra steps to just get accessible information, or just like what should be accessible information?
Because YouTube wants to um prevent their their advertisers from getting embarrassed. So, like, for example, um, like when Nintendo drops like an advertisement a week after like doing some horrible like copyright striking a bunch of Nintendo YouTubers or whatever the fuck, and they get dislike bombed. Um, they came crying to YouTube. I don't think it was them specifically, but that's just like an example of a company doing something stupid and then getting dislike bombed. Like they would like the advertisers would go to YouTube and they'd be like, "Wait, we're getting dislikes. Can you make it that they don't see it anymore?" And so YouTube was like, "Oh, fine," because we don't want to hurt our bottom line. So they got rid of fucking dislikes. So now you can only like videos, publicly, unless you get that Chrome extension, which I recommend for everyone. But because the majority of people only watch YouTube from the YouTube app, they can't use that Chrome extension. So now
Yeah, here's the better advice. Get off YouTube.
Yeah. Go touch. No. Hey, we post on YouTube now, Maxwell. Stay on YouTube and go watch our videos. You know, go watch more podcast episodes on YouTube, and also subscribe, and also like, and also comment, and also share it, and also add it to your favorites. Um, does anything else add it to the algorithm? I don't think so. Oh, watch it for long periods of time. You have to keep watching it. You can't just watch it for like 5 seconds, like, comment, and subscribe, and then leave. You have to keep watching it. So watch the whole video. There you go. And also don't uh don't skip through our ad reads, which is what we're going to do right now. Goodbye. This episode is sponsored by Liquid IV, the #1 powdered hydration brand in America. We've been partnering with them all summer, and I've been using it to beat the heat through some of these particularly nasty heat waves. While it was scorching hot outside, I was staying cool and refreshed with Liquid IV and their 12 delicious flavors.
One stick of liquid IV in 16 ounces of water hydrates you twice as fast and far more efficiently than water alone, and it also contains 5 essential vitamins and 3 times the electrolytes of leading sports drinks, without any GMOs, gluten, dairy, or soy. Liquid IV is also committed to equitable access to clean water worldwide, partnering with leading organizations to fund and foster innovative solutions with communities that protect both their water and their futures, and donating 39 million servings in 50 plus countries around the world.
Real people, real flavor, real hydrating. Get 20% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code IIHS all one word, at checkout. That's 20% off anything you order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code IIHS again, all one word, at liquidiv.com. Thank you again to Liquid IV for partnering with us. This episode has been generously sponsored by skunknuggetparenting.com, run by my own talented mother. Parenting is hard. Sometimes kids and parents are like night and day. It can be very hard to get on the same page with them, and a lot of parents have anxiety that maybe they're doing it all wrong. Luckily, there is a service out there that can help. Skunk Nugget Parenting Solutions is a company that provides parent coaching services, resource referrals, and psychological profiling, along with 24/7 phone and text access in an all virtual program. Plus, the first consultation is free. In order to get this amazing service, please visit skunknuggetparenting.com. That is skunknuggetparenting.com. Thank you to Skunk Nugget Parenting Solutions for sponsoring this episode. Thank you all for listening. And now, back to the podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I almost in between, we went into the new room for the second recording, and Maxwell came in, and the first thing he said was, "Hello, everybody. My name is Markiplier," and I almost just said that.
You were going to say it. I almost had you.
I was so close. But you know what? I pulled through. I'm here. I saved it. I saved myself.
You still brought it up, so I think I won.
I think you can go suck a dick. How about that? There you go. You can go do that. Yeah.
Okay.
What are we gonna talk about? What the fuck are we gonna talk about? Let's figure that out.
Oh, wow, what a great time to try
Shut
and
up.
figure
Don't
this
worry
out.
about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. There's so many interesting things in our lives. We're so interesting. We do. Oh shit! It's the last week of classes before finals.
I suppose.
Yeah. How are you
I've
feeling
had
about
my
that?
last week of classes. I don't have any more classes.
Oh, is it just finals now?
I don't even have finals.
So you're just done?
No, I have like 2 assignments due during finals week.
Okay, but they're not like finals.
Exactly.
All right. Isn't this your last semester?
No.
Oh, next semester is your last semester.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
I'm trying to graduate like a normal student, 4 honest
I
years.
Dude, I'm gonna be here for another 3 years, man. I'm not getting out
Yeah.
until 2026
A
with
lot of
my
my friends are
bachelor's.
a lot of my friends are like kind of doing something like that. They're like, I'm not done with school yet, but you know,
I have 60 fucking credits and I'm still like before I even count this this semester, I have 60 fucking credits. Why the fuck am I going to be here until 2026? It doesn't make any sense. This includes fucking summer classes, right? This is including summer classes. What the fuck is going on? Why am I
how
going to
many
be
do you
here
need?
so long?
How many do you need to graduate?
I have no idea. But I had enough to get my associates, and then I took another semester there. And then I come here, and I'm fucked. Well, why? 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 I'm a junior right now. I'm going to be a fucking super senior for 3 years, man.
I mean, if that's what the school requires, I
I
don't
don't
think
understand how it's like that. Like, if I'm taking 5 classes a semester
they
plus
want your
classes in the summer,
they want your
what's going
money.
on? They
They want
do. They absolutely do. And this is why people didn't want to come here and instead went to UIUC or
then why are
fucking
you
whatever the
here?
fuck. Because they gave me a goddamn scholarship. And UIUC didn't accept me.
Well, scholarship is not paying money.
I mean, I'm still saving $2,500 a year. So, you know what? At the end of the 3 years that I'm going to be here, I'll be able to buy like nothing actually because $7,500 is nothing. You can't even get a doctor to spit on you in a hospital for $7,500. You know? So what the fuck am I gonna do with that? Like,
I don't know. I guess life will tell.
yeah, fuck. I want to die. I want to die.
Yo,
I'm. Yeah, the shit sucks. Don't make the same mistakes I did. Don't double major. Don't go to college. Drop out of college. Um, Sucking dick for nickels would
for
probably be
money,
a more rewarding. No, for nickels would be a more rewarding experience than what I'm doing right
nickels is
now.
money.
I know, but I'm not talking about like when you say sucking dick for money. You know, people assume like, oh, like 50, $60. No, 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 nickels. Like one nickel for a blowjob would be more rewarding than whatever it is that I'm doing at Western right now. It's so hard. But you know what? It's okay. It's okay. We'll live. Okay? You know what? We'll live. Um, yeah. At least you're getting out soon. You know?
Yeah, I have to
That's
like figure out what I'm doing. Like my landlord has like sent me a like a message or a contract to renew the lease,
mm-hmm.
and that implies that I'm staying in Binghamton for another year, and I don't really know if I'm doing that.
Are
So,
you changing schools or
well, I'm graduating.
in spring in May,
Yeah,
right?
the renewal for like the next year.
Well, why don't you tell him no, write me up a contract that lets me stay until June. And then
Well, I'm
you've
already
got
gonna stay here till June.
yeah.
So the contract is for like the entire next year. That
Oh,
makes sense.
okay. But your contract right now is until June.
Correct.
Okay.
And
Well,
I'm
you've
like,
still got July and August to. Well, have you started applying to grad schools?
no, but I probably will. I just
You
like
need to.
I don't I need to.
You you
I don't
you need to start as soon as grades come in from this semester, if not sooner. Right? As soon as you can get a
right.
transcript from this semester.
I just have no idea what I would do for grad school right now. I have to like look at my options and then
I thought you
pick.
need to get a master's in to do social work. I thought, wouldn't that be a master's of psychology?
Um, I don't. What do you mean? I thought you were getting a master's in psychology.
I'm getting a doctorate in psychology. I'm
You're
getting
gonna
a PhD.
doctor. What the fuck are you gonna do with all of that?
I'm going to. So by the time I get it, I'll be a 50-year-old man. So hopefully, I'll be able to make enough in 20 years to retire. Because on the fucking career trajectory I have right now, that's how long it's gonna take.
Jeez.
Yeah, I fucking know. Yeah, I
50
fucking
years old?
know.
You're gonna be in school till you're 50? You're gonna be the oldest student in class.
With not at this school, with how long it fucking takes to get a degree here. Goddamn. But yeah, I'm not getting my doctorate here. They don't have the PhD programs that I like. So I'm going to try and get into a different school for that. But yeah, I need my master's somewhere. So I don't know. By the time I get my master's, I will likely
What is your life goal
my
for
life
20
goal?
years?
At
least degree goal after.
after the next fucking. Yeah, it will probably be about another 7 years before I'm out of school, realistically. And I hate that. I hate that so much. But I would like to, with the rest of my 20s, the few brief years left that I have in my 20s, after I'm out with my doctorate, I would like to use some of the capital that I've been acquiring in some of my other business ventures. This one, streaming, real estate, the other podcast. I would like to sort of get those together, and then hopefully, what I ideally would like to be doing is I would like to create a research lab, or like a research foundation that can like do research on like psychology and that sort of thing, and like where the best and brightest minds can like come here and like they can do work and like get like access to all of the things that they can really like do the work and not have to worry about like resources and shit like that, because a lot of in psychology there are certain conclusions. I would say in science there are certain conclusions that some people don't want you to make. You know, there's some connections and some conclusions that mainstream science doesn't want you to make.
Yeah.
And
why is that?
for example, right, a lot of people would oppose any research to find if there was like a gay gene, for example, right? If there was like a certain gene that you could have that made you gay, I think a lot of people would try and stop you from finding it, because if you could find it, then certain people would, you know, genetically modify their kids, or like screen their kids at least if they have that gene, and they would do certain things to that, right? So
Yeah, I see what you mean, like the risk
yeah,
of ethics.
there are some inconvenient truths that science and mainstream scientists don't want you to talk about, and I want to create a research foundation where you can talk about it and you can do the research and you can keep replicating those experiments and be like, okay, whether the mainstream media and the mainstream science zeitgeist likes it or not, these are facts, right? And you can't oppose it, and this is just the truth, so deal with it, right? Well, that's not really what like science is, but like, we have evidence to support this. Whether you like it or not, we've done X, Y, and Z experiments to prove this. And I think knowledge for knowledge's sake, not to appease some political entity or to appease the APA, right? Knowledge for its own sake, I think that's what I want to pursue. So I want to make the world a better place by making sure that people know more about the world and not just proving the agenda that some people want to make. You know, because I believe in equality, I believe in all that sort of thing. Don't get me wrong, but there are inconvenient truths that we need to address as a society rather than just ignoring. If that makes sense, don't
Um,
you agree?
what I'm getting at is you want science to be less about um, I mean, ethics are still important, but I see what you mean that uh,
Ethics are important. Like,
like
perform your experiments
some
ethically.
some purported ethics do hold science back more the than you know the rationality of the ethics.
Yeah, I don't want to like torture anyone. Like, we're like perform the experiments ethically, but there are a lot of
But like
con-
the reason people don't conduct research on certain things is because the there is I don't know, people aren't considerate, I guess, of the I
in my
kind of get what you
experiment.
mean. I get what you mean.
Yeah, it's like yeah, it's all about like, okay, here's this science, right? Here's the conclusion we reached. I don't care if it offends you or not. This is the conclusion we reached. This is the evidence we have. If you want to replicate the experiment and do it yourself, you can. But this is the evidence we reached. That sort of thing, right? Like, there's yeah, like I said about like the gay gene, like I don't think a lot of people would want to know that, so there hasn't been too much research on it. There's been some, but I feel like if if we really like just wanted to know for knowledge's sake, we would have found it by now. Honestly, like if we wanted to find the
That
cause
makes
of gayness,
sense.
we could. Yeah. And we have a few theories about it,
That's
but I
just
feel like,
the
yeah,
but that's just an example you're trying to use. You're like,
exactly. There's
yeah.
other ones. Like, here's another really hot button issue that they don't really want us to that they don't really want to do like a lot of research on because they're scared of what they might find, right? Is like IQ heritability mixed with what ethnicity someone is, because we've done a lot of tests on IQ heritability, and the number one predictor of being a high IQ person is if your relatives are. Like, if you have a twin, the twin studies have proven that IQ is heritable, right? Your parents being high IQ is a pretty good predictor, you know? So there hasn't been a lot of studies based on like, okay, IQ is heritable. How different is IQ based on race? Because if you did make that, some people would be like, see, black people are dumb or whatever, or like, oh, white people are smart or Asian people are smart and that sort of thing. And they would use that for like white supremacy and shit like that. But
Yeah,
I feel like that's the thing to know.
I think the question should be differently phrased or researched. And I think there is like a value in finding research on like I don't know. The things that come to my head when you bring up this idea is for one, cannabis research,
Yes.
because it's for whatever reason the government has been like restricting the research of cannabis for scientists, which is kind of stupid because it's so, widely used by people and like
Yeah,
not well scientifically understood anyway, just because they don't want scientists to work on it, which really is like, I don't know, the people you should be least concerned with about giving cannabis,
that is
but
true, but at the
for
same
whatever reason they
time,
are.
yeah, but at the same time, the cannabis industry is also uh, paying a lot to bring down any findings about. Okay, here's where pot really is bad for you, right? Like the link between cannabis and schizophrenia. There's actually a pretty strong scientific link there, but the cannabis industry doesn't want you to know that. So I think on both sides, there's a lot of people trying to control the narrative on there, and I want to again bring out the facts, right? So that is something that I would like to look into. Hopefully, I won't have to do that. Hopefully, we'll know more about the facts by the time I have my fucking doctorate. But if that's a thing, like if we still need to do research on that, then hell yeah, I'm gonna prove that once and for all. I wanna do the research. I want to know that if people are going to put this in their bodies, right? If people are going to smoke this, people are going to eat edibles and shit. If they're going to let this substance alter their mind, I want to know if it's healthy for them, or is it going to give them paranoia? Is it going to give them schizophrenia? Are they going to get addicted? That sort of thing. I think that's important to look up.
Right. And yeah, there are you know, like supposed ethical reasons why that research is not done.
Yeah, I would
I
agree
think
with
of
that.
another I have another example,
Hmm.
which is uh that thing you said about like generationally low IQ. But like I think the like reason for that in a lot of situations could be like food insecurity. Like people are malnourished and so they're not getting the nutrients they need on a daily basis to like grow. Like children not having proper food security. So maybe research can be done to reflect, I mean, like what um, not having regular access to food can do to your IQ.
That
Uh,
is true. Um, However, uh, I think nowadays we are like the most food secure um group in America. We are the
whoa, whoa,
most.
whoa, whoa!
No. We are
No,
the
we are
most food
not.
secure generation. I mean, well, think about
No,
it, right?
no, we are not. We are actually not. I would advise against saying that for you know the for concern of misinforming people, but this country is not. We
No. I'm
have
saying this generation is the most food secure generation. Like poverty
how do
has
you
gone
how do you
down,
no how do you
access to food
how do you
has gone up.
no how do you quantify that? Do you quantify that by like white Americans, the white American children and their access to food? Because uh
Overall, if you look at everyone per capita, they're more likely, they're eating more than they did in the 1900s, right? If you look at 100 years ago,
you're looking whoa.
in the
This is
1920s, people had less access to food than we do now. I don't I don't think that is
I don't think
a
that's true. They're like entire like dead zones of food for people in this country. There's actually like a lot of concern for um, giving food security to people. Do you know like um, affordable housing is not even accessible? Like there is no county in the United States that has like access to affordable housing for
okay.
people in
So
poverty.
the
It
Food and
doesn't
Research
exist.
Action Section
It
or
doesn't
Action
exist.
Center said in 2022, 1 in 8 households experience food insecurity. Food insecurity 1923. I'm gonna try and see how many people had
Isn't that a
less access to
crazy
food back
isn't
in
that a crazy
1923.
statistic though? That 1 out of 8 families experience food insecurity in this country? That doesn't mean that we're like a well-off country.
Well, all right, so this is lack of access to an affordable, nutritious diet, right?
which
So,
is which is exactly what other way of stating it is there?
I think that's doing a lot, right? Like that's like that. The way they said that is doing a lot. I think
What?
they have access to affordable food, right? Like, you can go to the McDonald's, get something off your fucking dollar menu, but that's not nutritious, right? Like you're getting food in your stomach, and that's what I'm saying, right? Back 100 years ago, people weren't eating fucking anything, right? But when they did eat something, it was generally not like processed or whatever. It was normally like relatively fresh, right? Like they were growing shit, right? Or they went to the market and they got some shit that was grown near them and they ate it, right? So overall, people have access to food. It's just not good food, is what I'm trying to say, right? When people are starving to death and people are malnourished, it's not because they're um it's not because they are like struggling to find food, period. It's that they're struggling to find food that actually nourishes them, right? Like, does that make sense?
Um, I mean, not really. I don't think I understand how just because food is abundant in like corporations, I guess, or in that sort of way, that it means that people have food security. Like just because that exists
They
doesn't
don't
mean
have food security,
people
but
that doesn't mean people have a healthy access to food just
I'm
because
saying they've
those
changed
facilities
the
exist.
language. I'm saying they've changed the language around it, right? When people said they were starving, right?
But that's like crazy because that like puts the blame and the responsibility of not getting food on the people who can't get it.
No, 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 no. I understand. Like I'm don't have a lot of income in my household, right? Like my roommate buys all our groceries. That's our agreement is that she buys all our groceries, and she works two jobs, and she still struggles to bring us food that is like of decent quality, right? Like a lot of the stuff we buy is frozen. A lot of the shit we buy is not all that healthy for us, like we rarely get um like one of the things we got that I was really really like happy about, because last we finally went to Aldi last night, and oh, that was a fucking ordeal, let me tell you. How but
Okay.
like let me talk about like what we got first. So we got some like pork tenderloin, right? Sliced real thin, right? But there was like 8 or 9 of them, right? Or like maybe like 8 to 10, right? And like I sizzled them up last night, and I like bit down on them, and I was like, God damn, we haven't been able to afford like real meat in a while, right? A lot of it has just been like frozen shit, and it's just not been great. But like I got to eat like a real like pork thing that we bought, and you know what, it was really really good, because like before, when it was me paying for groceries, right, we couldn't really afford, or I couldn't afford red meat either, right? Like I almost completely cut red meat out of my diet uh because I just couldn't afford it. So like now that we can afford like some of that, and then also her like parents give us some like excess food and stuff like that, and it's really nice. So I get it, right? Like it is not feasible for a lot of people to be able to afford that sort of thing anymore.
Right.
Um
Which you know,
yeah.
people need the the right amount of nutrients especially
Yeah,
if they're like people growing up.
yeah.
You
So
know,
what I'm trying to say is they've changed the nature of the problem to people aren't getting a healthy diet, people aren't getting nutritious diet from how it used to be, which is people just don't eat anything, right? Like kids are still getting like 2,500, 3,000 calories, but it's not nutritious. There's not a lot of vitamins, right? So they're experiencing like hypovitaminosis, but they're still like obese, like we still have an obesity crisis here. And that trend has gone to other countries as well. In America, we are no longer the most obese nation in the world anymore because some of these developing countries have experienced the same problems that we're having, and they're going through their obesity crisis now. So while our obesity is still really bad, it's not nearly as bad as all those other countries. So now, in those countries where people would actually face starvation, now they are getting this crappy, overprocessed food, and they're experiencing the whole nother kind of problem, right?
hmm
And I mean, I would say that being malnourished but not starving is probably better than literally just not eating anything for a week, right? So I think if we're feeding people at all, that's still good, but we shouldn't let um perfect be the enemy of good, right? Like if that makes sense.
um, I don't know because it's what is good?
Like we shouldn't be like
Is it actually good the way it is,
we
or should
shouldn't
something be done
shut
about it?
down McDonald's and Wendy's and all these places that give out free food or almost free food.
It's not
Like
free.
I mean it's really 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 cheap, right? Like you can look on the ground for like pennies and quarters for an hour and have enough to buy a, a meal from McDonald's, right? Like that's yeah. We shouldn't be like
Well, that is not like sustainable living.
no, but we shouldn't
Is
shut down McDonald's and all these places that serve crappy processed foods just because people are malnourished, right? People
well,
are not getting the
that's
nutrients they
not the
need.
that's not the problem. Is these places existing? It's the fact that people have a lack of options.
Well,
You know.
those so this is we have an issue in
You
America
know.
now.
You want to know another example of where people didn't have options to what they could eat, and like where there were extreme like ramifications in that.
The
One is
Weimar Republic in Germany in the 1930s.
I was gonna bring up Jamaica and the uh, what is it, the IMF, if you heard about that.
No, enlighten us.
Essentially, what they did is they took away like import regulations in Jamaica that prevented like imported foods from like entering their market, and so
Mm-hmm.
they flooded their market with imported foods, and all everything that they put on the free market was cheaper than what Jamaica could make
Yes.
and sell in their own community. So
Yes.
they were like actively devaluing their economy by letting the free market loose in their country.
Yes.
And then um, it 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 even changed their diet because um, milk became so unprofitable that um, like they don't produce milk in that country anymore.
Was it all that profitable to begin with?
Well, it was at
Because
least sustainable,
yeah,
Like
but like
at least you could make milk in that country and make a living. But you could no longer do that because powdered milk in that country was selling at like 9 times less than the going rate of milk.
Yeah. So I was going to bring that up, right? So right now, how would you say the economy is doing?
It's okay. It's been through worse.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna
So
say it's like the worst it's been right now, but I would say that like, the the effects of the pandemic have not gone away in terms
so
of like damage to the economy.
yeah, but if you look at it, it's actually doing really well. But the problem is the prices for things have gone up, but for low level workers, they're getting paid relatively more. But the problem is that comes with the increase of prices on certain goods. But last year, I correct me if I'm wrong, but our president said about last year that inflation was 0%. We had 0% inflation on the dollar, but the prices kept going up. But that's because lower level service workers are getting paid more, right? So middle class people and people who are like, who go to the grocery store, they're like, "Oh no, this economy's fucking awful," because they have to pay so much more for this sort of thing, right? So if all prices are going up across the board, but like you said, growing things locally and like freshly, that's becoming more and more expensive as well, right? It becomes unsustainable to do that, right? So either farmers are going to have to go through like legit poverty in order to like create our food if they want to fix the nutrition crisis, or we're gonna have to like stop making all those processed foods, and for a while we're going to be going from people are obese to people are literally starving. That's what's gonna happen.
Hmm.
If we're going to cut down on all those processed foods, if we're going to introduce regulations that make it no longer profitable, people are going to lose their jobs, and people are going to lose access to the food that at least fills their bellies, right? And
Uh, will will that happen?
if we can't produce if those like processed foods can't be produced, then yeah, because like farmers still have to harvest their crop, they still have to plant their crop, they still have to grow their crop, they still have to harvest it, they have to take it to market, they have to release it and like sell it to people who come in and ship it to different parts of the world, right? People still
Right.
need to do that, and
Yes.
so the cost on that fresh food is still going to be very 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 high, even though there's going to
I
be
mean,
less processed foods and
I
all that
mean,
shit.
the only reason it would go up is if the cost of doing all of those things um, becomes more expensive, and like it becomes harder for
Well, that's
farmers
what I'm saying. That's what
to
I'm saying. The
generate
cost of
like
their doing business is going to stay the same, right? Like,
how.
because they're still going to need to grow, plant, grow,
But
ship.
how do you know that their profits are gonna just, or like, you know what they make is going to remain the same or consistent?
No, no, no. I'm saying like the cost of their doing business. The things they have to do are still the same. So they're still
How?
going to have
Well,
to.
that still doesn't. I'm sorry. That just still doesn't make sense because, like, I don't know. Everything I've come to understand is that the the cost of doing those things continues to go up. It doesn't go down.
I mean, it will also do that. It will still continue to go up if people are
Right.
going to need to, like, if they're going to need to, if like certain farmers are going to have to be like, okay, well, now that there's no McDonald's anymore, now that there's no like goldfish crackers or whatever the fuck, right? Now that there's none of that anymore, we're still going to have to uh we're going to have to ship even more out, right? Like we're going to have to grow even more and harvest even more and sell even more, and it still has to go to all these different places, but there's less of it to go around. is my sort of thing, right? Do you get what I mean on that?
Um, yeah, but that's only in the case that like, you know, corporate uh, food or those sorts of bodies like go down. That, but
That's
like,
how it has to happen. If we
but
want to do that, we
I
need to
know,
say,
I know. I'm just saying that the current trajectory does not imply that those businesses are, falling out. They're probably just consistently on the rise.
yeah, but if the government has to step in and say, okay, you can no longer make this kind of food. If we decide that it is enough of a crisis that the government needs to step in and say, you cannot make food like this. If they have to come in and do that, which I'm not sure they ever will, because the food lobby is insane, the farmers lobby is insane. Like, do you know how much farmers are getting paid by taxes and subsidies per year? It's ridiculous.
You think they're
Like,
getting paid through taxes and subsidies?
oh yeah, oh yeah. Do you know anyone who's a farmer?
No, I don't know anyone who's a farmer.
So my grandparents were spent like the first 15, 16 years of my life um with where they okay, I'm kind of mixing it up. So they spent about like the first like 12 or 13 years of my life living on a farm, and they only just recently got rid of the actual farm itself, right? They only just recently got rid of it. And most of like the money they make, right? Like they grew corn and soy, right? And almost all of the money that farmers make is like subsidies, right? From the government. Because it's not
Right.
a profitable business anymore. It's never been a profitable business for like almost their entire lives. There's been fucking farm subsidies. If the free market had its way, there would be no farms. And so that's why I'm saying like the prices would only go up on farmers if they had to like do that shit. Like they would see some more profits if like they didn't have to compete with like the big like if people were buying more fresh food because like they had less access to processed food, but there would be less of it to go around because there's like only so many farmers and only so much farmland. And a lot of it, a lot of corn is turned into ethanol to turn into gasoline to ship all this crap, right? Or high fructose corn syrup, that sort of thing. A lot of that is where that goes to, or feed corn. Very little of the corn that people grow is actually for eating, right? Not a lot of
Yeah,
people grow like sweet corn.
that makes sense. I understand that.
So I just don't think that it would be a very profitable like I think when we start phasing it out, I think we won't see that much of a healthy populace. I think we'll be trading one problem for another. Because that processed food, say what you will about it, it at least gets food in bellies. And if we have to rely on fresh food and all that sort of thing, it's not gonna help out. But what I will
I
say,
I will say that I don't think the existence of them means that job or that food insecurity doesn't exist in the country.
no. It absolutely does. But again, it comes back to malnourishment versus starvation is the problem, right?
What is one like less bad than the other, so it's okay to exist in the country?
I'm not saying it's okay to exist, but I'm just saying I don't know if there's a way to solve both, like fully. I'm
Well,
not sure if there's
I
a
think
way.
I
There
think
has to be an
I think it's a
acceptable level,
it's a solution as simple as getting food to people.
but it's not. It's not simple, right? It's like saying, how do you solve housing, right? I saw this on Twitter. Someone was interviewing a UK politician, right? And they were saying, how do you insist on, or like, how are you going to make housing affordable in London, right? And he said, well, we're going to make all the housing 100% affordable. And then the interviewer says, okay, but how are you going to do that? And the guy says, well, we asked a lot of people and they said that they can't afford a luxury condo. And like, he doesn't provide any solutions. A lot of people say, okay, let's make housing affordable. Okay, how do you do that? By making housing affordable. Okay, but that's not how it works. You can't just say, okay, this housing is now affordable. Like, you can't do that. You can't just say, like, ta-da, the housing is affordable, or ta-da, you have food now. What I will say
understand your
about
point,
food
but
is, have you ever seen those programs where they give out, or like the programs or the websites where like they go to grocery stores, right? And if they have produce that like looks sort of weird but is edible, or like produce that's like about to like it's been out a little while but it's still edible, um, like that sort of thing. Have you ever seen those? And then they like you can like subscribe to like get some of those, or like they take it to like the food pantries and stuff like that. Because I think
right.
that's actually a really like an actual good idea. If you want to make it affordable, just like give people the produce that looks weird but is still edible and it's still like fresh, and give them that at like a really reduced rate. And I think that's because like if the grocery stores were gonna use it, right, like it would just be like a net loss. They would just have to like throw it out, right? But like if people are eating it at like a reduced cost, right? Like people who can't afford normal produce can get that, and they're still getting nutrients and they're still getting like food and
I
stuff,
think
and it's more nutrition, you
that
know?
still like brings up the same problem about how
I'm
like
I'm just saying that
any
that's like an
food any food does not mean it's good food for people who don't have access to food.
I know, but I'm saying like that's when people talk about like, oh, we need to give people food, a lot of them don't have solutions. I was saying that is an actual solution that appears to actually be working, right? Like on first glance, that appears to actually be a solution that works. Is to like give people produce that like looks a little ugly, but you know what? You can still eat it. And like reducing the cost based on that. I think uh kudos to whoever came up with that idea. But I think that's an actual partial band-aid solution. So if we can come up with more band-aid solutions like that, we can reduce the problem. But at the end of the day, can we really make it a 0% thing?
Well, I think not believing in that being possible is already accepting defeat.
But here's what I'm saying, right? Don't let perfect be the enemy of good. So I think people need to support solutions that are good but not perfect, because if you keep waiting for a solution that is perfect, you're never going to get anywhere. So go work at your local food pantry, go donate your cans, or that sort of thing. Go do that, because that at least helps a little bit, you
It's
know?
true. That is true.
So if more people uh everyone is always waiting in politics in general. Everybody wants big sweeping change, right? Everybody wants a big sweeping change that solves all the issues, right? And not a lot of people have the patience to sit around and wait as like incremental change does real good work, but it takes a while and it doesn't solve all the issues immediately. Not a lot of people want to vote for that. Not a lot of people are like, "Oh, that's that's not sexy enough, so we don't want to vote for that." I say, as we're going into the primaries, as in 2024, uh, 1/3 of the Senate is up for reelection. All the House representatives are up for reelection, and we're having a presidential election. I think an important thing to look at before we go into the big red button, because we do need to do that still. But I think an important thing to keep in mind as you go into the primaries, right, is to be like, okay, nothing is ever going to be solved by one big sweeping change, right? The only thing that's going to happen is incremental good changes. So if someone is promising you like, we're going to solve childhood hunger in this country, they have no fucking plan. But if they say, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to invest this much money into this, that is going to raise access to food by like 3%, right? And we're going to keep doing this year by year, and they have like the numbers planned out, that's who you want to vote for. So don't vote for someone who is just going to give you empty platitudes. Vote for someone who has an actual fucking plan. You know? Like, for example, right? Uh, I'll give an example and then we'll go to the big red button. But, um, an example of this is like Biden. He was like, we're going to cancel all the student loan debt, right? So he did a thing. He forgave all the student loans. And then the Supreme Court went in and said, no, you can't do that. And that was it. And then people turned on Biden for that. And it's like, no, you try and solve things with a big sweeping change and it doesn't work. But his new programs that have been like forgiving like small amounts of student debt are working. People are getting those. People are like actually seeing relief from that. But nobody talks about that. People only talk about, well, he didn't forgive the student loans, so we need to not vote for him. And that's the issue.
Yeah,
so,
I guess we won't talk about the Supreme Court's responsibility in this.
Yeah, and also nobody talks about that. No, none of the fucking burnouts, the fucking Bernie supporters will talk about that. No, they'll just say, oh no, it was Biden's fault. How the fuck was it Biden's fault?
Bernie
But-
supporters should talk about all the policies Bernie Sanders has gotten passed.
Exactly. See, Maxwell's based. This is why I keep you around, Maxwell. Exactly. Yeah, let's talk about all the bills Bernie Sanders has written that have passed. Oh, wait. That's a short conversation. He's renamed a couple post offices, guys. He truly is just the king of the Senate. I swear. Speaking of which...
Celebrity politicians. It's
exactly
weird. It's fucking weird, but we have them. It's on the same level as Marjorie Taylor Greene in that like one comparison, but it's fucking there. So
no, well, the UK has celebrity politicians too, but I don't know if they got them from us or if we got it from them.
I'm just saying that like politicians have that in common with each other.
Yeah.
In the United States.
Yeah, but like Jeremy Corbyn, right?
What?
Jeremy Corbyn was just British Bernie. And he was a dick. I hate Jeremy Corbyn. I will be the first person to say I fucking hated Jeremy Corbyn. He was just the worst. He was the most fucking anti-Semitic asshole in the world. And they gave him so many free passes for it. Everyone in the British Labour Party gave him like, or like a lot of the, no, not everyone in the British Labour Party because they eventually voted him out. But like a lot of the like terminally online British Labour Party supporters were like giving him so many passes, right? When he was really, really saying a lot of anti-Semitic shit, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And there's been a lot of that in recent years. I think that I truly believe that this generation, if you look at like the responses to like October 7th or like even just like before that, like the left and the right are going to, they've gone after the Jews for years, and what led up to the Holocaust was both the left and the right working together to invade Poland, you know? So I think we're about to see another issue of left and right anti-Semitism combining, and I'm a little bit scared of that because we should have learned our lesson from 100 years ago, but we didn't. So I'm a little bit scared of that personally. Because
I can see the reason to be scared.
Yeah. Like, there was another news story. I guess, you know what? Fuck the big red button this week. We're not doing that because we've got more news stories to talk about. This is another serious news show. Just recently, I think it was yesterday, Congress had a hearing about anti-Semitism on college campuses because they had a hearing about whether or not the U.S. should keep supporting Israel or call for a ceasefire. And
they can't figure that out right now.
I mean, well, we did have a ceasefire. We did have a ceasefire, but look what happened. Hamas violated it. The day after it happened,
right.
Hamas shot up a bus station and started shooting rockets again. So
that means it's okay to go in and.
I mean, there was a ceasefire on October 6th, but look what happened on October 7th. Every time there's a ceasefire, Hamas breaks it. So what can you do while there's still Hamas in the country? What I'll say is this. If Palestine wants peace, they need to get rid of Hamas themselves. They need to work with Israel, and they need to get rid of Hamas themselves. And some of them have reached out to the Israeli government, but there have been like people on the Palestine side who reported those people who reached out to the Israeli government to work together against Hamas. They reported those people to Hamas and got them arrested. So
That's not their fault.
But if Palestine can't work with Israel to get rid of Hamas, if Palestine can't say, hey, this is where Hamas is hiding, and like feed them this information, Israel's just going to have to keep like hitting targets where they think Hamas are. Where Hamas is like launching a rocket on the roof of an apartment building, Israel's going to fire back. But Hamas is using human shields because that's what terrorists do. We've known this for years. The Irish used human shields. Al-Qaeda used human shields. The Taliban used human shields.
Well, just because they do it means it's okay for like governments to like to actively try to go through the human shields just to get to Hamas. It seems like
it's either that or Hamas just shoots another 5,000 rockets in one day like they did on October 7th. Because they don't have a problem.
How many people did they kill?
They killed about, what was it? I think the numbers are sort of stabilizing out around 1,500 in one day with 5,000 rockets. But if you didn't know this about Israel, Israel has like 4 or 5 different layers of air defense, right? They have Iron Dome, they have David's Sling, they have a couple of other ones. But if they didn't have that, 5,000 rockets in one day, if those all hit, that would have been catastrophic. Like, that would have been hundreds of thousands of people.
Right.
Or at least tens of thousands, right? That, if Hamas is allowed to launch 5,000 rockets in one day, but Israel isn't allowed to launch the same amount back, right? Where is the issue? Like, just because Israel's better at shooting them down doesn't mean the response shouldn't be proportionate.
I can't get behind that, because that's just like trying to say, oh, well, the Israelis might as well be terrorists too.
If the like, look at it like this, right?
That's kind of what you are saying.
If
by
we
saying
shot down the planes
if Hamas
on 9/11,
can do it,
if we shot down the planes on 9/11,
I don't think it gives the United States justification to act like terrorists, and they kind of did.
Via the Geneva Conventions, if Israel had actionable intel that it was a military target, if Hamas was using it for military purposes, and there were civilians nearby and the civilians got hit, that's not a war crime. It's the same thing with the nukes in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right? You're allowed to bomb a military target even if there's civilians in it because it is helping the war effort, right? And that's the issue, is that a lot of these civilian targets are helping the war effort. And that's Hamas's playbook, right? So until we can't get rid of Hamas without going through the human shields. So it's much like, you know how everyone says in defense of the atomic bombs, if you like when they launched the nukes into Japan, into Hiroshima and Nagasaki, that killed, what was it, 400,000 people, I think was the figure.
Right.
But think about what we would have had to do if we didn't do that and we instead did a normal invasion, right? If we invaded the entire mainland of Japan, how many more people could have died on both sides, right? I don't like it, it's not a good position to have to be in, but if you have to choose, it's better to lose a comparatively small amount of lives now. But when Israel, like they've sent in soldiers now, they're not indiscriminately just going to carpet bomb Gaza, right? If Israel wanted to carpet bomb Gaza, they could do it in an afternoon. Gaza would be a parking lot if they wanted to. In about 2-3 hours, they could do that. But they're not doing that. They're sending in actual soldiers now, and they're getting killed because Israel isn't acting like that. But at the same time, they've been putting up with this shit for 78 years. Or, wait, what is it? It's 2023, 1948, 75 years. Right? When is it going to be enough?
I think so.
They've been under attack since they were founded. From like the instant they were founded.
You're saying the Palestinians have been under attack?
No, Israel. The first day that Israel was founded, like every single country in the Middle East tried to destroy it, and they fought back, and Israel won. And they did it again, and Israel won. But they've been under constant attack for years and years and years. And at what point is it going to be okay? And when the first government that was founded in Palestine after Israel was created back in 1948, do you know who they elected as president?
What?
He was a personal friend of Adolf Hitler. A personal friend. Amin al-Husseini, you can look it up. He was a personal friend of Adolf Hitler. He appeared on Nazi radio stations trying to get Muslims to sign up for the Wehrmacht. Right? Bad fucking news. And Palestine voted that to be their president. Right? Like, the entire history of Palestine post-1948 has been, it's not about securing a homeland for Palestine. It's not about kicking out illegal settlers. It's about hurting Jews.
I don't think that gives justification to like inhumanely treat an entire civilization of people.
It's at this point. At this
point,
right?
It still is not okay.
There were 160,000 Palestinians in 1948, and there are 2 million now. 2 million now. So if it's
what?
like an extermination campaign, the numbers don't support that. Right? But at the end of the day, here's my thought on this. At the end of the day, if we can't keep Palestine and Israel from fighting each other, if there can't be a ceasefire, if there can't be a peace, if they can't stop fighting each other, like, at least Israel didn't side with the Nazis back in 1948.
What?
Like,
what is that? I don't know what something in 1948.
If they're going to fight each other to the death, then, I mean, at least Israel's nice to gay people, you know? At least Israel isn't doing shit.
Are they?
Yes.
Are they?
Yeah, they're nicer than Palestine is.
I mean, yeah.
To gay people.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah.
But this is such a, I don't think it's a great metric.
I'm not sure they can ever stop fighting. But I don't want the Jews to be wiped out from the entire planet. And as we've seen recently, anti-Semitic hate crimes have gone up all over the world, especially here. They've gone up like 300% here.
Of course, that's not good.
Yeah,
I get that.
I don't think there's any place Jews can be safe in the world.
I don't think killing more Palestinian civilians addresses that.
Unless Palestine can get Hamas out themselves, then Israel's going to have to keep invading and bombing and doing that sort of thing until Hamas is gone. Because if they don't, they can't just sit there and take it. They can't just sit there and if there is another ceasefire, Hamas will just launch rockets into Israel the next day. Right? Like, if Israel just stops shooting at Gaza, right? This could all end if Hamas lets the hostages go and surrenders. But remember, they still have 138 is the number. Sorry, excuse me, today. They have 138 hostages still. If Hamas released all of them and surrendered and stopped shooting, this would be over. But they won't. They won't. And did you read about what they did to the hostages who were released? They did a hearing and like a medical exam on some of the hostages that were released. The Palestinians, Hamas gave them Klonopin to make them look happy. They sedated them to make them look happy on video when they were being released. It was a propaganda tool. They fucking drugged them, man. Like, I don't think
that's not okay. I think people should know about that, but I don't think people should like connect like the death of civilians with like justification. It just it does not add up. It doesn't add up to either side. And I just because like one organization is a terrorist group and they do it does not mean, oh well, that'll just.
But they're not a terrorist group. They were legitimately elected by Palestine.
I'm talking about. Oh, you mean Hamas's?
Yes, they were. Oh. Back in 2005. Palestine voted for that. That's what they wanted. That is as close to a legitimate government as Palestine has right now.
Is that like a good enough? Is that a good enough justification to judge the entire country? I mean, we had a certain president recently elected. Do you think that the entire country should be judged?
If he shot 5,000 rockets into Canada and started a war with them, yeah, I would think that. I think they would be engaged. I think they would be absolutely.
Even if like a literal majority of the country did not vote for this guy who did that, you would judge the entire country for those actions.
If the military of our country
and not the person who was put in charge.
If we didn't take steps to get rid of him,
you can't distinguish between the two. Is that what you're saying to me?
If the U.S. military used human shields and a sizable amount of our civilians were in support of Donald Trump, and Donald Trump launched 5,000 rockets into Canada in one day and started a war with them, I would say yes, they would be engaged to use lethal force against us, 100%. If we started an illegal war and we had a peace agreement beforehand, yes, 100%. If Donald Trump went to war with the members of NATO, 100% they would be justified in bombing the shit out of us. 100%. If we started if we sent like a fucking ICBM into fucking Toronto, they absolutely would have justification to blow up New York City, LA, Las Vegas, Chicago, Milwaukee, fucking buttfuck Idaho. 100% they would have justification to do that. Because that's what happens when you start an illegal war. Talk shit, get hit. That's the rule. That's the rule, is fuck around and find out. Palestine did the fuck around, and now they have to find out. But there was back in 2019.
I still do not see how an entire civilization of people can be held responsible for the people in power.
If they want to fight back against the people in power, I'm sure.
Like, honestly, I mean, think about it. Most of these people don't have like the option to move out of Palestine. They literally don't.
But they have the option to go to the IDF.
What? Wait. Are you trying to say that they're gonna like, amass and revolt against their own government? You say it should be their own responsibility to do that?
People have done it before. The U.S. government did that. Iran did that. For better or worse. Shut up, dog. Iran had a successful revolution where they went up against the government, a government with a modern military too, and they won. It was back in 1979. They did it. They won. You know, so it's possible. It is entirely possible for the people of Palestine to rise up and get rid of Hamas. Or, if they want to, they could probably go to the border with Israel and say, hey, I have information about where Hamas is, and I'm sure the Israeli government would like to know that, and they would like to work with them. So there are plenty of options for people in Palestine to go and help liberate their homeland from Hamas. But not a lot of them do that. There was one march back in like 2019 where it was Palestinian people actually protesting against Hamas, and Hamas brutally struck them down, right? That's the government they voted for. So if they want to have peace,
no, it doesn't matter everything they do. You still blame the people more than you blame the government. How does that make sense?
I do blame. Well, what can we do about Hamas but
blame the people who put Hamas in power?
I'm not. So here's what I'm saying, right? We all know Hamas is bad. Like that. What I'm saying there is like there's no like argument about that. Like we can all agree with that. But what I'm saying is, if the Palestinian people really don't like Hamas, then there is more they could be doing to help get rid of them. And I think Hamas is the biggest obstacle.
What can they do?
No,
really, what are you asking the civilians in a country run by terrorists to do more?
The same thing that the Iranians did. The same thing that we did. The same thing that the Haitians did. Revolution.
How are they going to do that when, the people who are seeming to fight for that cause are killing them?
Because they haven't decided to rise up against Hamas.
You think they'd be grateful?
Yeah, it's the same thing as the fucking French and Indian War, right? The United States was mostly fighting for itself, and Britain sent like a few troops here, but it was mostly the British the British colonists, aka the Americans, fighting the French. But you know what we did? Not fucking 10 years later, is we fucking sided with the French against the British. So there is precedent for that. If the people of Palestine want peace with Israel, Hamas is the biggest obstacle, not Israel. I agree that the Israeli government is like a problem. Like I don't like their prime minister. Nobody likes him. But even under a different government, there had to be a response for October 7th. Like I don't know if you've seen like the photos and the videos and the testimony that's been coming out about that.
I mean, I understand. I do.
There has to be a response.
Of course. I get that. But the response should directly be against the people responsible.
But what if the people responsible are hiding under hospitals in tunnels? What do you do?
Well, I would still try to find. I mean, I get it. War is tricky,
Especially
sometimes there's not a
warfare.
like. It's rarely that you find a humane decision. Yeah. I get it.
It's like but there's a reason why we didn't win Vietnam.
How much of it is necessary?
Until Hamas is gone, or at least until the fucking hostages are back. But I know some people in Israel and some people in the world are just like, you know what? We've been doing ceasefires and peace treaties and like proposed two-state solutions, because they have put out a proposed two-state solution before, and Palestine didn't agree to it. They said, all right, you can have like these areas, Palestine can have all of this, you can have all that, and Palestine didn't agree to it. It was Israel's proposed solution. Palestine didn't agree to it. They just said, nope, from the river to the sea. From the river to the sea, that's what they said. So, at the end of the day, there can be no ceasefire until Hamas is gone. But I think when Hamas is gone, and when the current government of Israel is gone, when there's like a new prime minister who's a little bit more moderate, I think if you got rid of Hamas and you installed a new Palestinian government, maybe you could work to achieve some peace talks. But I also don't think that the people of Palestine are all that unwilling to get rid of Hamas. I think they're perfectly willing to be used as human shields because they hate Israel that much.
That's such a low way of thinking of people.
They really hate Jews there. A lot of Palestinians and a lot of Muslims really, really, really hate Jews. It is a racial thing. They do not like them. It is not about Zionism. It's not about Israel. It is about they do not like the Jewish people. And they never have. From the 1,400 years that Islam has been around, they have never liked Jews. So I don't think that there can be, I don't have a lot of faith that there can be peace because of just how anti-Semitic Islam is and how Israel has been treated over the last like 2,000 years. You know, from the very beginning when they were forced out to begin with in the diaspora, right? Ever since then, you know, Britain expelled all the Jews. You know, there's been anti-Semitism in Europe. America had a lot of anti-Semitic things. There's actually a statue of what is it? General Stuyvesant. He was Dutch, and he said, "We're not going to let any Jews into New Amsterdam." Right? There's been anti-Semitism for years and years and years, and so I think that the Jews are so hard-headed to make sure that they don't get wiped out, and Islam is so anti-Semitic that I don't know if there can be peace in Middle East. But I know that Israel is sure a hell of a lot more invested in peace than Palestine and Hamas are. That's my piece. That's what I'll say.
Okay. I don't have enough of the information to create a rebuttal, but I I try to consider, you know, that the feelings of 2 million people might be, I don't know, a little more than what we can make them out to be.
I just hope that that Hamas can be gotten rid of one way or another. I think that's all you can pray for at this point.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best way to peace.
I have no sympathy for Hamas easily.
Yeah. And I just hope that that Palestine can be like, okay, they're using us as human shields. This isn't okay. We should get rid of them. And I think the best way to achieve like peace between two groups is to give them someone else to hate, right? You know how Britain and France always fucked with each other for literally for a 100-year-long war. But whenever anyone tries to invade France or Britain, the other one will come to their defense and be like, nobody gets to fucking kill the UK but me, or nobody gets to kill France but me, right? I think if you can give Israel and Hamas another group or Israel and Palestine another group to hate or someone to blame shit on, that's how you get their peace. Just give them a scapegoat, and I think Hamas is that scapegoat. So that's the plan. There you go.
Okay.
Or ISIS maybe? Sure, why not? ISIS. Same thing basically. You know? So that's what should be happening. But neither side wants to come to the table and talk about that. And I don't think Israel, I don't think the current government of Israel wants that. I think they're okay with fighting Hamas conventionally because they've had enough, rather than they want to encourage the Palestinians to get rid of them. I think they're a little impatient to get rid of them. That's my thought process. And that's why I don't like Netanyahu. I think he should be voted out next election. So that's my reasoning.
And maybe if he does stay in power, you don't blame all Israelis for that, you know.
Exactly. But as long as there is an Israel and a Palestine, I think there will be at least a little bit of dislike between the groups, you know? You know, like there's just going to be a lot of in-group bias and out-group distrust. So just work to, you know, again, find a common enemy. That's the best way to make two groups, two people, two anything come together, is give them someone else to hate. And I think we should probably end the podcast there, because Jesus Christ, this one's long.
Mhm.
I would like to thank Justin Connor for being such a committed patron. I believe this month is, what is it, month 16? I think so. So we really want to say thank you. We really appreciate your patronage. We would also really appreciate it if you guys went over there and signed up. Patreon.com/IIHS podcast. For $3, you get shout out at the end of every episode. If you pay $5 and you join our influential and successful tier, you get early ad-free access to all of these episodes, and you get access to our movie commentaries, which we should be doing a lot more of now that classes are coming to an end. So we should be able to put a few more of those out. Hopefully some over the Christmas season. So keep an eye out for those. But yeah, I would also recommend you follow our social media. We are at IIHS Podcast on Instagram, Threads, Twitter, and YouTube. So head on over there if you want any updates, topic suggestions, Q&A, that sort of thing.
Also known as X.
No, shut up. We're not calling it that. We're not calling it that. That is not its name. It is Twitter. It's still on twitter.com, by the way. So it is Twitter. So
I guess a billionaire still couldn't fix that.
He still can't afford the domain of x.com. So I'm sure
a private citizen still gets to own that.
Either that, or I'm sure it's a porn website. But yeah, x.com is not what it's on. It's on twitter.com. So it's Twitter. So follow us on Twitter at IIHS Podcast. Fuck you, Elon. Did you hear about him saying "go fuck yourself" to the people who pulled their advertising off Twitter?
Yeah, that was so stupid.
I can't wait to see how that goes. We'll probably talk more about that next week, because we're going to be, I assume that now the fourth financial quarter is coming to an end, we'll be seeing a lot of shit about Twitter going downhill. So can't wait to see that. But yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about that next week. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Kael. I have been incredibly influential.
And my name is Maxwell, and I've been highly successful.
And we'll talk to you guys next week.